Getting slapped in the head is already bad enough, but imagine taking a downward elbow to the back of the head from a heavyweight. Were illegal strikes the reason Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane ended the way it did? Should the referee have stopped the action and deducted a point from the Frenchman? Did those shots actually change the course of the fight? What did Alex Pereira think about the whole situation? And what did the referee and other fighters have to say about it? One thing is certain, strikes like these are never good for anyone's health. And that's exactly what we're breaking down in today's video. Could it be that the bon gamin isn't quite as good as people think? Welcome to MMA TV, built for true MMA fans. Before we get started, God bless America. What an unbelievable event. Every MMA fan who watched UFC Freedom 250 will remember it as one of the greatest fight cards in UFC history. Every single fight ended inside the distance. 7 fights, 7 knockouts, an absolutely unprecedented achievement. And here's something you might not know. There have only been 2 other events in combat sports history where every fight ended before the final bell. I'll be making a separate video about that soon, so make sure you're subscribed. But today, we're focusing on Alex Poatan Pereira versus Ciryl Gane, the bon gamin, and more specifically, how illegal strikes may have changed the outcome of the fight. But before we get into the controversy, let's take a look at how we got here. What was the road that brought these 2 fighters to this matchup? And what kind of momentum was each man carrying into one of the biggest fights of the year? Let's start with Poatan. After reclaiming his title in a dramatic rematch against Magomed Ankalaev, Alex Poatan Pereira was set to make his long-awaited debut in the heavyweight division. The move had been one of the biggest talking points in MMA. How would Pereira's power translate against much bigger opponents? Would his legendary striking still be enough at heavyweight? And perhaps the biggest question of all, who would welcome him to the division? On the other side stood Ciryl Gane, coming off a fight that remains controversial to this day. Gane had started that bout brilliantly, repeatedly hurting the English champion with sharp jabs and clean boxing. But during an exchange, he extended his fingers while trying to manage distance and landed a significant eye poke. The fight was ruled a no contest. The injury sidelined Tom Aspinall for an extended period, and with the division unable to remain on hold, an interim heavyweight title was created, and that's how we arrived at the White House. Alex Pereira was making his heavyweight debut, while Ciryl Gane was fighting for interim gold, with Aspinall still out of action. The betting odds were close. Neither man entered the fight as a clear favorite. But once fight night arrived, it became obvious who the event's biggest star was. Ciryl Gane made his walkout from the White House gardens. Meanwhile, Alex Pereira emerged directly from inside the White House itself, recreating his iconic bow and arrow celebration. After an intense stare-down during the fighter introductions, it was finally time, and the fight played out much the way many fans expected. Gane relied on his movement, range, and technical striking. Poatan patiently looked for opportunities to close the distance and land the fight-changing shots that have defined his career. The Frenchman looked exceptionally prepared. He mixed in takedown feints, dipped his head to enter boxing exchanges, and most importantly, he consistently answered Pereira whenever the Brazilian tried to initiate offense. Those quick counters disrupted Poatan's rhythm and prevented him from establishing the pressure he wanted. Another weapon that proved highly effective for Gane was his body-kicking game. Pereira, meanwhile, brought a different approach. Rather than relying heavily on calf kicks, which were difficult to land because of Gane's movement and stance, he targeted the head and upper body with a variety of powerful kicks. Late in the first round, however, Pereira finally found success. He landed two clean, straight punches that visibly rocked the Frenchman and reminded everyone why his power is respected throughout the sport. As the round ended, Pereira appeared to be working harder than Gane. Yet despite the fatigue, he refused to sit on the stool between rounds. He listened to his corner standing up and looked ready to continue the battle. Then came the second round, and that's when everything changed. Pereira stepped forward. Gane lowered his level and fired a perfectly timed counter jab. The shot landed flush. Poatan crashed to the canvas. After the knockdown, the Brazilian immediately grabbed for the legs, doing everything he could to survive. And that's when the controversy began. Gane unleashed a barrage of ground-and-pound strikes from above. Several of those shots appeared to land to the back of Pereira's head. Among them was what many viewers believed to be a downward elbow that also connected to the back of the head. While Pereira fought to recover and desperately searched for a way out of the position, the referee allowed the action to continue. Eventually, the Brazilian managed to get back to his feet. But after absorbing so much damage, he was clearly compromised. Sensing the moment, Ciryl Gane pressed forward and finally secured the knockout victory. With the win, Gane captured the interim heavyweight championship and the UFC Freedom 250 commemorative belt. Now let me ask you this. Before we get into what fighters, analysts and fans have been saying, what's your take on the situation? If strikes to the back of the head are illegal, what should the referee have done? One thing that stood out to me is that even in the footage taken inside the cage, you can see visible redness on parts of Pereira's head where some of those strikes appeared to land. 2 days after UFC Freedom 250, on June 16th, Alex Pereira released a video addressing everything that happened, and there were two major takeaways. First, despite the loss, Pereira made it clear that he plans to stay at heavyweight. In fact, he wants a rematch as soon as possible. According to Poatan, he'd take the rematch immediately if given the opportunity. The second detail is perhaps even more interesting. According to Pereira, during the rules meeting held before the fight, he specifically spoke with the referee about his concerns regarding illegal strikes. More specifically, strikes to the back of the head. Pereira claimed that his concern wasn't eye pokes or low blows, incidents that critics have previously pointed out in some of Gane's fights. His main concern was the possibility of shots landing to the back of the head. Interestingly, that claim was later supported by another fighter who competed on the same card and attended the meeting, Sean O'Malley.
Ciryl Gane's back of the head shot today. I was raging watching it. He's gonna do something, man.
You know what's funny? In the rules meeting, when Pereira was talking to the ref, they were having the translator go over like back of the head. Because I remember when Gane finished.
JDS.
Wasn't JDS hitting him kind of elbow in the back of the head? But he's kind of turned away, so it's
Is that what Pereira was talking about?
Yeah, that's why they were talking about the back of the head. But did he land a couple back of the headies?
A couple dingers. Like 12? Dude, he hurt.
According to Pereira, he was extremely frustrated with the referee after the fight because he had already raised concerns about that exact situation. From the Brazilian's perspective, those strikes may have directly impacted the outcome of the fight.
Eu acredito que se não fosse esses jogos aí, dificilmente estaria naquela situação.
The referee, Herb Dean, later released a video explaining the rules and addressing the controversy.
Okay, the rule we're talking about is the back of the head, and that's confusing because it's different than boxing. And the way we enforce this rule is we focus on the nape of the neck, and that's really what the rule should be called. The nape of the neck or occipital junction also covers the spine, and it covers a line right here with 1 inch variance to either side, so right here. So this is what we go over in the rules meeting. I will let them know that this area is a foul, off limits, that this area is a fair blow. Here is a fair blow. Turn to the side so we can see it here. Here is a fair blow. Here is a foul. Hopefully that's useful to you guys and clear things up at all.
However, when you look at some of the footage Pereira shared, the discussion becomes even more complicated. Many fans have pointed to the swelling and visible marks on the back of Pereira's head as evidence that at least some of the strikes may have landed in an illegal area. Poatan himself believes that without those shots, he likely would not have ended up in the position that led to the finish. Personally, I think the referee should have at least paused the action. At minimum, a warning could have been issued while giving Pereira up to 5 minutes to recover, similar to how officials handle other potentially fight-altering illegal strikes. But not everyone agrees. Former UFC champion Michael Bisping has taken a different position. In his view, Pereira should accept the result and move on, rather than focus on the controversy.
About Herb Dean, it's about Alex Pereira and what he's doing. Listen, he lost a fight. There's no shame in that whatsoever. But sitting there complaining and crying about it and going on about how he was fouled, it's just not a good look. It is not a good look.
And that's where the debate really begins. So now I want to hear from you. Do you believe the referee handled the situation correctly? Did the strikes to the back of the head affect the outcome of the fight? Or was Ciryl Gane simply the better fighter that night? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we've got plenty more UFC news, fight analysis, and MMA content coming your way. Thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and thank you for hitting that like button. I'll see you in the next video.